right? There's people throughout the earth who have feelings about what's going on, of course, and they are acting on those feelings. And some of those people know how to hack.
So, are Russian hackers threatening your business?
They are,
Is that
yes.
something that people need to worry about?
Well, listen, yes, it is. It is a threat to your business. However, I want to say this. It's always been a threat to your business, and it's not a political thing, right? What it is, or it doesn't have to be, right? There are certain hotspots throughout the world where you will see more of this type of behavior coming from towards America, right? Than other places. Russia, the Eastern European countries have always been really high on that list. China's always been really high on that list. Certain places in the Middle East, Pakistan's another big one. India's another big one. In Asia, so those places have always been a concern. And that's not changed today. They're not just becoming a concern. That said, with everything that's going on, yeah, we have noticed a bit of an uptick in certain types of behavior and activities. But again, can we directly attribute that to what's going on right now? Uh, no, we can correlate it, but we can't give a direct attribution. But regardless, what I will say is that when conflicts like this happen, these are now tools in this modern day landscape of warfare, right? We rely on um, the internet to do just about everything. Okay, the financial institutions are backed by the internet, right? You can't really transact anymore. I mean, who's writing checks, really? Right? Are you writing checks personally? You're probably doing everything online, digitally through your phone, and using that kind of connection. Same thing with getting gas at the pump or purchasing anything. You probably do a lot of your purchases online. We need the internet. We need computers to run this world, and as a result, they are now targets of attack, okay, more than they've ever been. Now, what I will say about this is the likelihood that your small business is a direct target as a result of these large conflicts that are going on, not likely. But you could get swept up in indirect attacks, and that's always the thing. I've said that before in some other episodes. You really need to think about the low cost attacks that are going on, things that are being sent out in mass, where people are just really throwing a net in the water and seeing what kind of fish they can scoop up, so to speak. Those kinds of phishing attempts. You really need to have basic security in place to prevent uh, to keep yourself from being a victim of those. So that's still super important. And the target attacks are still a major issue as well. So right now, this landscape is not getting less dangerous. The landscape is getting more dangerous. And it was going to do that anyways, regardless of these current world events.
So, so really, the focus shouldn't be on who's doing what to whom. It's more on how can I be protected in case a threat happens to me. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Yeah. So if the idea is if you're exercising good, security in your environment as just a normal habit, then when things like this change in the world, you're already ahead of it, right? Like you don't have to respond to it. You're already doing things that you should be doing. Now, if you haven't been doing them, is this a good time to do them? Well, yeah, every day that you start is a good day to start, right? If you can start today, start today. But yes, um, this is an emerging threat that's coming up more and more throughout the earth. There are more people becoming victims to these types of attacks. We've seen a lot over the last couple of years. Unfortunately, some like the R Evil group, they are out of Russia. That's where they're from. But like I said earlier, they're not just from there. There are plenty of attackers that originate from the United States as well.
One of the things that a lot of people may have seen is that because there is conflict, um, some people take it upon themselves. Some malicious characters may take it upon themselves who have certain skills, hacking, may take it upon themselves to punish another country or citizens from another country in the best way they know how to do that. And since being able to reach across borders through the internet, like you mentioned, we see that happening all the time, in every aspect of our lives. But now with hacking, that's they're able to do that as well. So is that something that we could see on the rise when we're potentially, if you're potentially involved in a conflict, your country's involved in a conflict with another country?
Yeah, no, so of course, right? So let's say you know, you're an activist in the United States, you have the skills necessary to perform certain types of cyber related attacks, and you want to do something to get involved in this conflict. That's already happening, right? Anonymous, lots of, people who use that moniker anonymous are actually involved in this conflict on the digital side, right? They're taking down websites, they're taking over TV channels. There's a lot of that going on. I'm sure on the other side of things in Russia, there's plenty of people doing that too. Plenty of people in Ukraine doing it, right? There's people throughout the earth who have feelings about what's going on, of course, and they are acting on those feelings. And some of those people know how to hack. So yeah, all this stuff is being driven up. There's going to be more of it. And yes, you need to be vigilant as ever, but you've always needed to be vigilant. And I want to say that, like, we have always needed to do more for our businesses to protect ourselves, our employees, and our customers' data. We've always needed to take it seriously. My hope is with this information being out in the media, more people will start to take it more seriously who didn't used to do that. That is my hope, that more businesses will say, yeah, okay, let's go ahead and implement multi-factor authentication, MDR and EDR, and all these other tools and these things and best practices, and start actually looking at this more as something that just has to be done to be a responsible business owner instead of just a cost center. But we'll see if that happens. If you don't do it, again, your exposure is great, and the amount of people trying to attack you is on the increase.
Is there anything specific that you can mention that people can be doing to protect themselves right now?
Yeah. So one thing you should be doing right now is using, if you've got a firewall that allows you to do some geo blocking based on region, you may want to go ahead and block traffic coming from Russia right now, China, okay, some of these other places. Get some good backups in place. Test your backups. Here's another thing. Do you know that they're good? We've done a lot of videos lately on backups. Do you have backups? Do you know they're viable? Have you asked your IT person when's the last time they tested them? Have you had them demonstrate that they're viable? Go do that. Go do that. That's a big thing you should do.
Travis, what would you suggest that a business do or an individual do if they do need to give access to someone while they're working on through some technical issues or something like that? What would you suggest they do?
Yeah. So if you know who you're going to be working with, you can whitelist their IP individually and give them access through. The other thing is, a lot of these companies who are doing work like that, they should have ways to get around that, right? Through VPNs and things like that, and be able to proxy their connection as well. And that's why I want to say, like, if you block these countries, it doesn't fix everything, right? Because all you're doing is you're blocking traffic that's originating from their IP space, but any malicious actor who's serious is not going to originate their attack from Russia, from China, or something like that, right? They're going to bounce that connection around anyways as well. So yes, there's ways to open things up for people. What you're doing is, again, you're trying to prevent the low hanging, sort of the casual, sort of drive by style attacks that happen, that are low cost attacks, right? What you're trying to do is you're trying to elevate that cost, where if somebody really is interested in coming after you and your business, they're going to have to put forth some effort to do it. And that's what this geo blocking will do, excuse me, on the firewalls.
So thanks for those practical steps that you outlined, Travis. Now let's wrap everything up and simplify it as we always do. Are Russian cyber attacks a threat to my business?
Yeah. Yes is the answer, but they've always been a threat to your business, and it's not just Russia, and it's not just China. You can be attacked from anywhere. America, probably anywhere but Antarctica, right? Like any place. So do what you ought to do to protect your business, implement best practice, and raise that cost and start taking your security seriously.